Hi, my name's Claire Badger and I'm a solution consultant with DDG. Today we're going to be having a look at the succession module within SuccessFactors. I'm on the home screen and my name's Carla Grant. I'm a line manager. From the home menu, you can see that I have access to all the modules because I am a line manager. There are a number of ways to access particular areas of the succession module. If I go to my home tile here, the first area that I will focus on for succession is my talent profile. It's very important that all employees have their talent profiles up to date, as the information that we put within the talent profile feeds the rest of the succession module. So we've got our talent profile, which contains generic online resume-based fields. So you can see we've got things like work experience, formal education, career goals, geographic mobility, courses and workshops, and certificates and licenses. So the employee would go in and complete their talent profile. All of this information is then searchable in the talent search, which we'll have a look at shortly. Now, because Carla is a line manager and she has people that report directly to her, if she goes and has a look at one of their talent profiles, she's going to see some additional fields that the employee might not be able to see. So if we look at Marcus here, one of Carla's direct reports, we can see this additional portlet, which is called the talent information field. And this is viewable to managers only. And this is where the line manager would come in to complete their talent review for that employee. So as you can see in this particular instance, we're assessing the employee on some critical talent flags, risk of loss, impact of loss, and whether there's a potential reason for leaving. We can also flag them as a future leader, which is obviously a key talent pool that this particular business is focused on. So we can complete these talent flags. We save those. We'll be able to see how this information is used later on in the succession module. So once the line manager's completed their talent review of the employee, we can then go on to the next stage of succession, which is succession planning. So back up at the home menu, we're going to move to the succession module. Now the first screen that loads within Succession is the Succession org chart, and this is the key doing screen within Succession. This is where line managers are able to complete succession plans, view critical talent information, and also do some other key activities which I'll walk you through. So again, we're focusing on Marcus Hoff, who reports to Carla. And as you can see, if I click up, this is an org chart as such. So similar to what you might see in the company info area of SuccessFactors. Now the difference with this org chart is that this is all managed on the positions. So it's not managed on people, it's managed on the positions within the company. So for example, in this particular role, sales director, we can see that there is no current incumbent in that role, and it's to be hired. I can still manage a succession plan for that position, although there is no person currently holding that role. Now you can see that there's some nice bright colours across the screen. And what this information is based on the talent review information that we completed on the manager view of the profile. This is now flowing through to the succession org chart so that we get a good understanding of how your team's positioned, how they're rated against the key talent flags, and what their succession plans and succession bench strength looks like. Now, if we look at Marcus, we can see that he has a colour gradient, and if we hover over that, we can see that that's showing that he has a risk of loss low. We can also look at the legend at the bottom, which will show us what some of these icons and gradients mean. So we can see that the puzzle piece that Marcus has shows that he has a high impact of loss, and the shield is showing that he has a potential reason for leaving is voluntary leaving. The other things that we can see from this screen, we can see his positioning on the 9 box. So from the last calibration that Marcus was involved in, he was in the star box, which will make a little bit more sense when we go to have a look at the 9 box. We can also see how long he's been in that position. We can also see that he has 3 named successors to take his position. So we've got Catherine here, and she has green if we look at the legend, that shows that she is a ready now successor. So she's ready to take Marcus's role. Cheryl and Judy are also successors, but they're ready to take the role in 3 to 5 years, so a slightly longer term. What we can also see is Judy here has a number of 2 nominations. So this means that Judy's nominated for a total of 2 roles. So this would be Marcus's role and also another role. If we click on this little business card here, which we call the quick card, we'll be able to see what roles she is nominated as a successor to. So we can see here that she's nominated as the sales director, which is Marcus's role, but she's also nominated as a sales director to Vic Stokes's role, which we can see is over here. So we get a good summary around how many succession plans Judy's on. What we can also do from the quick card is, if we're thinking about what successors and how ready they were to go onto a succession plan, we'd be able to navigate to other areas of the module within SuccessFactors to be able to make educated assessments around the successors that we're putting on. So we're able to go and look at things like their development plan or their goal plan, all depending on whether we're permissioned to be able to see that information. Now, if I go to the top of the tile here and I click on the menu screen, this is where I'm able to complete a lot of activities. Now, the first thing is, because it is a org chart based on position, we are able to manage the position structure through the succession org chart. So we'd be able to add positions, we'd be able to remove them, and we can also hide them. So for customers that have EC, that would be your source of truth for managing the org chart. But for other customers that do not have Employee Central, you would be able to manage your org structure through the succession org chart should you wish to. The other things that we can do, we can find successors. So this is how we're going to add successors to the succession plan. So in many instances, you might know the particular successor that you're going to add to the succession plan. If I start to type that successor, you'll see that the potential employees that you're talking about will pre-populate below. So I'm going to nominate Thomas. Now, if I click go, what I get is a summary of Marcus's role. So I'm able to understand all the key responsibilities and competencies required for that role. But what I'm also able to do is, because there are already people nominated to this succession plan, I can compare Thomas, who I'm about to nominate, to those that are already nominated. So if I click compare nominees, it's going to bring up the 4 nominees side by side, and I'm able to compare information about those particular nominees to make an accurate assessment around readiness for that role. So based on the information that's in their talent profile, and also the information that as a line manager we're assessing the employees about, I can then go through and compare. So I can have a look at their performance, I can look at what they've been flagged as for potential. I could also have a look at the difference in their functional experience or career goals to make an accurate assessment. So I've decided Thomas is a suitable candidate, and I've also decided that I think he has a little bit more development to do, so I'm going to put 1 to 2 years. I can then make any notes, should they be relevant, and nominate Thomas. And what we'll see is that Thomas has now popped up on Marcus's succession plan. Now, there'll be other circumstances where I'm not actually sure who I'm going to nominate as a successor to Marcus. And so there's a couple of other things that I can do. So I could go in to do an advanced talent search to see who else is within the employee population that might be suitable for that role. And if I had recruitment, I could also go in to search for anyone within our candidate pool which might be suitable and has the relevant skill set. Some other things I can do from the succession org chart. I can have a look at the nomination history. Now this is going to show me the current and past nominees that Marcus has had on his succession plan. So I'm able to see who made the nominations, whether they were changed, when people have been removed, so that you're able to see the history around the succession plan for that position. If Marcus is planning to leave the business and I don't have a succession plan in place. Another thing I could do from this screen is I could jump into our recruitment module and I could post the job requisition based for that position. So I can put it out there into the market for candidates to apply. The other things that I can do, I can save the succession org chart, I can print it so we can get a good, nice picture of all their talent assessments and their succession plans, as you can see it on the screen. Jumping to the next screen, which I can do from this menu button, View Lineage Chart, but I can also do it from up the top, as you can see here. I jump into the Lineage Chart. Now, this is a static screen, but what it allows me to do is to deep dive into that particular position, to have a look at the domino effect of if Marcus was to leave today. So we're really able to see the succession plan for Marcus and also the successors for those that are nominated to his role. So if we look, we can see again our 4 potential successors that we've listed, but we can also see the succession plans of those that are nominated. So we can see that Thomas also has 2 successors who are John and Sudarshan. Sudarshan is ready within 2 years and John is ready now. Now if we look at Catherine, we can see that potentially she has a succession plan, but we can't actually see it. Now this would be due to permissioning. So there'll be some areas of the system where you can't see the information about those people because it is sensitive or not relevant to the job that they do. But it gives us a good assessment around the action that we'd need to take if Marcus was to leave today. We're now going to have a look at the talent search. In the talent search, we've got a number of different areas that we can use. So at the very top, we've got a keyword search. So we could type in something like sales, and it would return anyone that has sales within their employee profile. The other things that we can do is search based on the information of their position today. So if we knew there was a particular area of the business that we were focusing and trying to find a person from, we'd be able to look for their division or department and find people that are currently in those roles. We can see over here we've also got our talent flags, our risk of loss and impact of loss that we can search by. We can also add some of the criteria that we had on our talent profile. So if we were searching for someone with a particular education or particular language skills, we would be able to add that to the search. We can also add competencies. So if there was particular competencies that we were looking within a person, we would be able to add these to the talent search. And you can also weight that requirement for the talent search. Now, I'm going to complete a talent search now, but as you can see on the side here, I've got 2 saved searches. So for the sales director and marketing director. So these might be roles that I am searching for on a regular basis. And so what I've done is created the search and then I've saved it so that I can run it again. So I'm going to click on my sales director search. So as you can see, I have added the education that's required, and that has a 100% rating. I've also added some competencies that are relevant to that role, and again, I've added weighting to those as well. So what I'm going to do is click search, and it's going to return anyone that meets those requirements. So there we go, we have a list of 36 people that have been returned, and as you can see from this total match column, we're able to see how best a fit they are for that role. So we can see at the top that James and Marcus are 90 and 80% fit. So they are the top 2 candidates. The other area of the last column, we're able to see their last positioning on the 9-box matrix. So based on the calibrations that they've been in, we're able to see where they were last positioned. Now if I click a few people and hit analyze, similar to what we did with the succession nominations, we can also compare these candidates side by side. So going through the same process as we did before, we're able to see how they compare on things like education, career goals, performance. So we can see them all side by side again. So we can get a little bit more information about the candidates that have been returned. The other thing we can do, we can export this list. So if we were going to go and have, a meeting with our line manager and we wanted to show some potential successes, I'd be able to export those out. Or I could go back and modify my criteria to refine the search further. Moving on to the performance and potential matrix. So this is the commonly known 9 box. But this is not calibration. This is a static, almost report of your team. And effectively what it does is plots them onto the 9 box matrix based on their performance and potential ratings. So it's static. We can't move people around the 9 box, but it gives us an analytical view so that we can play with a number of filters to have a look at how our team is spread across the 9 box. So this is good for line managers and HR to be able to get a good view of their teams. So as you can see, we've got Carla's team plotted onto the 9 box matrix, and we've also got a number of flags up here that we can play with. So I click them on and off. We've also got a key down the bottom. So as you can see, we've got gender, so we're able to have a look at our gender split. We've got risk of loss, and we've also got whether they're ready to retire or not. The other things that we've got on this screen, so if you have a look here, we've got a little arrow which is showing sideways. If we click on this, this is giving us a snapshot of their performance and potential over time. So we can see how they've moved on the 9 box over the last few movements. So we can see there that Barry has moved sideways as per the historical trend indicator. We've also got percentages, so we're able to see how people are spread. And similar to on the Succession org chart, we've also got the quick card, which will allow us to take some actions from this screen. So navigating to other areas of the module or viewing further information about them. And the last thing we're going to have a look at is calibration. So I'm going to go into my talent evaluation calibration, which will allow me to calibrate on the 9 box matrix. So as you can see, this particular calibration, we are calibrating performance, we are calibrating performance and potential, and we're also calibrating pay versus performance and how versus what. But for this particular circumstance, we're going to focus on performance and potential. So on the dashboard view, we're just getting a high-level summary of how many people are currently sitting within each box. If I click onto the performance and potential screen is where we're able to see more information. Now, similar to the 9 box that we looked at just before, again, we've got the filters on. So we've got the genders, we've got risk of loss, and we've also got the quick card, which again, we can click on. Now from this screen, I can now make amendments to the employee's performance and potential rating. So as you can see, I can move them and it's going to update on the dashboard view. So it's updating how many I have in each box. Other things I can do within calibration. So I can jump to their employee profile or the development plan, and I can also make commentary. So as we're discussing the particular employee in calibration, I can also add comments around the things that we've discussed. Looking over on the display options side over here, filter options, we're also able to filter who we're seeing on the 9 box matrix. So if I wanted to calibrate all these people, but I only wanted to focus on the sales department, I would be able to apply that filter, and now we're only seeing the sales team so that you can really limit what you're seeing and refine the conversation that you're having. Once our calibration is complete, we then finalize that, which would update all those employees' ratings. So what we can see from the succession module within SuccessFactors, we're able to capture a lot of information about our teams, their profiles, what their career aspirations are. We're also able to assess our teams based on key talent flags, potential and performance. We can build out comprehensive succession plans and analyze the bench strength for our positions. We're also able to deep dive into particular positions to really understand succession impact of the succession plans that we have in place. We can talent search our employee population to find best fit candidates. We're also able to view our teams on our 9 box matrix to see the spread and distribution of ratings across our teams. And finally, we can calibrate to ensure that we're fairly distributing ratings, and also be able to have comprehensive discussions about our teams and their performance and their potential. If I go into the development module, we're able to see our development plan. So as you can see, we've got Carla, and this is her development goal plan. Now, similar to objectives or goals within SuccessFactors, the development plan is structured very similar. Now you can see that Carla already has some goals on her plan. So we can see that she's gone in and she's tracking the status on these development goals. So today I'm going to add another one. I'm going to add a new development goal. Now I can choose the visibility, whether it's private to me or whether I'm happy that others within the organisation are able to see it. If I keep it private, it's only between myself, my line manager, and potentially my HR representative. Now for this particular goal, I want to develop my ability to understand critical business needs, the business issues. My measure of success, so how will I know when I'm successful? So I want to see improved mind share within the broader sales team. Now I'm able to add my start date, which will be today. And a due date, and I'll give myself just over 6 months to complete that. Now I can add a status. So at this point, I'm on track because I'm just starting my goal, but I can come back and update that status throughout the 6 months that I'm tracking that goal. I can then assign it to one of our company competencies. So in this particular instance, I'm going to align it with customer focus. And the purpose, so outlining why I have this development objective, whether it's for my current role, my future role, or just general skill set. And I want to improve it for my current role. And I'm going to save and close. There we go. So now we can see that's popped up down the bottom. So develop my ability to understand critical business issues aligned with customer focus. Now what I can do is if I have the learning management module within SuccessFactors, I can actually link to our learning catalog from this screen. So I can add a learning activity. So I can go to find in the catalog, so that will take me to the learning catalog, which will allow me just to browse by keyword or the filters that you've configured in learning. But I think I'm going to search by competency. So if I click search by competency, it's going to look to the learning module, and it's going to return anything that's been aligned with the competency customer service. So as you can see, we've got the customer service agent level 2 certification. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to assign that to myself. So now we can see that the customer service agent level 2 certification has been linked to that development objective. And if I also went back into learning, I would see that that particular certification has also been assigned to my learning plan. Now, if you're not a customer with the learning module, we can also have that you add learning activities, but that will be a manual activity. So adding in particular learning activities that you'd like to assign to your development objective. So you could add in, anything relating to on-job experiences. You could add particular courses that are relevant to your organisation. Now, because I am a line manager and I have my direct reports, if I drop down from my name, we can see here my list of direct reports. So again, we're going to have a look at Marcus, and it's going to allow me to view Marcus's development plan. So I'm able to see the development goals that he's set up, how he's tracking, and I could also add new ones if I felt there were things that he was missing. The next area of development is what we call the career worksheet. Now this is a tool specifically for employees, as it allows them to view roles within your organisation and see how they fit and align with those roles. Now, if we have a look at Carla's career worksheet, we can see that she's currently looking at a number of roles that she's interested in achieving within her career. So we can see that the next role that she's interested in is the Vice President of Marketing, and she's currently 80% ready. Now, that assessment is done based on the competencies that are aligned with the Vice President of Marketing role, and the assessment that Carla has had against competencies through the performance management module or the 360 module within SuccessFactors. So we can see that these are the competencies for that role, and this is how she's currently tracking against those competencies. So we can see that she's met 4 of the competencies, and she needs to work on this one particular competency, which is acting as a champion for change. Now, based on this assessment, she could then jump into development to add a development goal relating to that competency. So something that she's working on. What we can also see is if we focus on some of the competencies that she's already achieved, so if we look at integrity and ethics, the system will also prompt employees by telling them a number of other target roles that share this competency. So encouraging them to think of other roles that potentially might be a fit for them. And we can see she's also flagged 2 other roles. So we've got a senior executive. If we hover over this particular tile, we're going to get some more information about that role. There we go. So we've got the role details. So we're getting more information around the key accountabilities and responsibilities of that role. What Carla could also do is she could find other roles within the organisation by browsing. So you can see there that all roles will populate, and she's able to add those to her career worksheet. So the employee is able to add as many roles as they would like to the career worksheet. They're also able to have a look at their current role. So seeing an assessment against their current position that they are in. So we can see she's met 2 competencies, and she's still got 2 that she needs to work on. If we look over to the right-hand side, we've also got what we call a career path. Now this will show you the sort of next step that the employee could be taking from the current role that they're in. So we can see that her next move would be a senior executive. And that's also a role that she is considering. So she's taken what the career path has suggested, and she is now considering that role. And as we saw before, she does have that on the roles that she's considering. So what we can see within the development module in SuccessFactors is that it allows our employees to create development goals that balance the needs of the organisation with the employee's career aspirations. It also empowers employees to create and manage their development goals for both personal and professional development. And we're also able to link development goals to learning activities to really accelerate learning. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has been a good overview of the Succession and Career Development module.